Hello Pisces, and welcome to your December forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is going to help you basically plan and prepare for the next 6 to 8 weeks, taking you right up until the end of the year. Welcome everybody. This reading can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And as always, I like to get started with channeled messages. These come through in dreams, and today as I woke up, I remembered a dream about a lizard or a gecko, and basically it was right in the middle of regrowing its tail. So this typically happens in certain species of lizards, including geckos, when they are in danger. They have the ability to move the tail in just the right way that they can release it and escape from the claws of a predator. This also can be a broader sort of representation of the ability to bounce back, to regrow, to basically rebuild. Starfish have the same ability, but I like this because the lizard in and of itself is a symbol of power, and this regrowing energy gives you a chance to rebound from any loss, any setback, and it's also an encouragement to cut any cords or ties with people, places, and things that are serving as an anchor, not allowing you to reach your full potential. Then the second thing that I was thinking of in meditation afterwards was how lizards also lay eggs, and this would be very much connected to an Ace of Pentacles energy. And eggs, just like a seed that you would plant in the ground, or a bulb for that matter, requires certain things like a certain amount of warmth, a certain amount of light, a certain amount of nourishment. So this is a chance for you to not only set an intention, but follow through and say, this is where I'm going to focus my energy, and I'm going to nurture it, I'm going to protect it, and I'm going to feed that dream. So that's the call to action here. The initial thing, though, is a release of something that could be tethering you or even sort of draining some of your energy. So as we look at the cards today, we'll keep an eye out for both. But the fact that we got a very flexible symbol, since lizards can move in and out of things, and a very regenerative symbol means that if you're willing to keep trying and you're willing to look in different directions, I think this could be a very engaging month. So now let's get into the Celtic Cross and see what additional messages are coming through for December. Again, just a reminder, you can use this for Sun, Rising, and Moon signs, and we're going to take a look at all of that at the latter portion of this reading, so I do hope you stick around. I'm going to remain quiet here while I pull out all of the cards, so give me just a moment to set out the Celtic Cross here. And we have Apollo in the background that just joined us. For whatever reason, this little furry guy wanted to say hello, so I'm bringing him up for just a second so he can relax now. Now, putting the focus back on you, Pisces, let's see what's coming through here for the rest of the spread. Okay, let's now take a look at your Catalyst card. This is going to help you create change and movement this month. And we have a card here that's beautifully aligned with the channeled message because it says at the base of the card here, clearing, and we can see someone crying, but through those tears is power, is strength, is release. And that is something that has gotten lost somewhere along the way. We've been taught that we have to, kind of keep our emotions pent inside, that we're not allowed to express ourselves. This card is showing that no matter how you do it, an expression of those emotions and ideas is really integral to your health, your happiness, and your success. So this clearing can happen on multiple levels. If it's emotional clearing, it can be laughter, it can be tears, it can be an artistic expression, it can also be through therapy. There's so many exercises, there's so many different ways that you can do this. This is also an encouragement to clear out people, places, and things in your life. So your environment could possibly use a little bit of clearing. There might be some objects or things that no longer are necessary, might even be holding an energetic imprint that is not beneficial at this point. There could be people that are draining you or tethering you in place. And remember, just like the gecko, you can release that and possibly have more energy to spare in the long run as a result here. So for some of you, this is just the universe saying it's okay to feel the way you feel, whether it's overly happy or, there's a lot of sensitivity or gentleness that's coming through. Whatever you feel, allow yourself to be in that energy and to express it, okay? Most importantly, clean and clear out your environment, your finances, people around you. Really make sure that everything that's there serves a purpose, needs to be there, and hopefully is lifting you up. Let's go ahead now and take a look at your centermost card. It's the Knight of Wands and it's in the reverse state. This is a chance for you to think about something from a different perspective. It's also permission to change your mind. We're always allowed to take our life experiences, take environmental situations and say, well, I thought it was going to be this way, but given all of these new sort of elements, I think I want to try this instead. So this is a month to explore a different path, to change your mind if you want to even change your direction. And it's also an invitation to be open-minded. This is a card of passion, as we can see here. It's not just the Knight of Cups. The passion comes, though, from ideas, like a light bulb moment. It's also like living, working, and embodying what it is that you want to do. That kind of passion and charisma this month can absolutely open up doors that were otherwise closed in the past. So you get to change your mind, you get to change your direction, and you get to also kind of like make a case for others when it comes to all of these things. And I love that the Three of Wands was crossing this. This is showing you that the only thing that could be holding you back from something changing or moving is just the decision in your mind and the decision in your heart. Once you've committed, the clarity and the commitment here and here opens the doors. But you have to first give yourself permission to explore the possibilities. And by the way, this is a card of travel and exploring, because we see the ship here. So you may even need to take a trip in order to make a decision. So if you're thinking, for those of you that might be looking at different colleges that you're going to, you would want to go and check it out in person. If you're looking at places to move, you want to make sure that you spend some time there, especially if you're moving to a different part of the country or world, making sure that you like the climate, like the culture, like the environment. All of that stuff matters. The cool thing with this is, like I said, it's almost instantaneous. Once you've made your mind up, you start to see movement. Keep looking in different directions because the Three of Wands is dependent upon being at the right place at the right time. But if you are, that synchronicity is ready for you. So almost instantaneous movement, but there's a little bit of a tug of war. And we have in the deep past the King of Wands. And like I said, we have the Knight of Wands at the center. This can be parent and child. This can be boss and employee. This can be sibling rivalry. But it typically is a little bit of a power struggle here. And so just realize that you have what it takes to stand up to that authority figure if necessary. Now, if we just look at the kings, this is so cool. If you notice on the foot of this card, we have a lizard or gecko. We also see like salamanders as a part of his particular crest. So everything we talked about earlier, the flexibility, the ability to reinvent yourself, to untether yourself from anchors that are holding you back, it's all part of your energy this month. Don't overthink it. The thing that can happen with the King of Wands, he's great at innovation. He's like the penultimate boss card, second only to the Emperor or the Empress. But all of that being said, when reversed, sometimes rigid, sometimes overthinking things. And this is a chance for you to do the opposite of that, to basically be the King of Wands upright, to be open-minded, to explore, and to really just allow there to be some space for innovation. And that's really what this month is opening up for you, is a chance to innovate and reinvent. We have the Five of Wands here in the recent past. As you can see with this card, it can represent competing interests, a breakdown in communication, sometimes even people fighting to be heard and to be seen because there's bad morale or poor leadership in general, and people just are trying to cobble together some sense of organization. So no matter how we look at this, one thing that can definitely be said about organizational structures right now is there's room for improvement. There may be people that are doing duplicative duties, so overlapping stuff that's basically adding up to wasted time and energy. There may be a lack of motivation. There's no carrot on the string that's getting people excited about doing what they need to do. There may be undercompensation. We see a picket line here. So a lot of times when there are strikes or pickets, it's because people aren't getting the right support, the right benefits, the right attention. So something needs to be improved or addressed in either morale or leadership or compensation or all of the above. This could be for you. This could be for people around you. This could also just be a feeling of not being motivated to do the work. And that kind of goes back to the centermost card, the Knight of Wands reverse, which is saying, I think I need to try something else. And when you're able to try something else and think of it from a different perspective, lo and behold, it comes in a lot faster, whatever it is you're trying to manifest than whatever you're trying to do right now with the Five of Wands. Your crowning card is the Two of Swords upright, which is basically saying, I'm not sure which direction to go. I'm not sure what's next, or I haven't given myself enough time to plan, to dream. And so all you have to do is give yourself some time and permission, and maybe even put it into the calendar and say, I really want to do some planning for this or for this. I like to remind folks with both, you actually have two cards that are going to require introspection and balance. The Two of Pentacles and the Two of Swords are similar in that you have two aces that are a part of this. Sometimes they are two aces that are equally appealing. Sometimes it's a shade of gray. So the Two of Swords is typically a shade of gray. It's not really clear. So you can ask questions. Whenever this appears, you can say, how would you handle this? Or I need to understand this a little bit better. All of the sort of introspective things that we were looking at with that center card will help you kind of focus beyond this Two of Swords. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to have to follow your own instinct and basically take a stand and go down one path. You can always try something else. You can always come back. But it feels like indecision could lead to stagnation. So don't overthink. Remember what we said earlier. Don't overthink. Instead, really just explore the possibilities and go where your heart says you need to go and move away from this kind of stuff. I think it's really important for you to feel like you're in control or that you have a say, and we'll get into that card next. So the Chariot here in the reverse state, in the near future, is saying, I want to be able to steer my own destiny. I want to be able to target what it is that I want to do in my life and not be told to hit the target by someone else. We have beautiful Archer energy coming through on this as well. So what I like about this, we talked a little bit about it in the last weekend collective, is there's three components to this. The planning, the sort of like gearing up, and then at some point just letting go and saying, I've done everything that I can do. I trust. A little bit of a trust fall going on there. So this is a chance for you to reclaim power, to speak up, and to say, this is what I want in my life. And it's kind of like take it or leave it on some levels, okay? And it's the management card and the fighting card, because chariots were used in war, but fighting for what matters, not for everything. And that's also what we see here again, this tug of war between these two people. At some point, you might have to go in a different direction. So we'll look more at that when we get into relationships, but let's focus on you first. And you have one of the best cards that I could pull here. Some of you have decided to go back to school, learn something new. Maybe you're putting a lot of sort of time and energy in building something. In this Eight of Pentacles, we see a dam that's been built by a beaver. So this represents the ability to basically create something of power and significance, and also that you can use for future things. The Eight of Pentacles is really good in a resource capacity here. So I like what you're working on, whether it's skills, like you're building your skills, or you're building a project or an idea, or you're literally working in construction. Continue with the build. Don't give up on that. The only thing that happens with a dam here is a blockage, and sometimes there's a point where there needs to be a release. So the blockage for some of you could be a creative or an emotional block, and Spirit came through this month to say, it's okay, let it out. Find a way to let that out. And when you just suddenly feel like it's okay for me to feel and be the way that I want to, it'll all process. This can also represent a point where you've done enough and you need to release tension or pressure. This can also be like a physical card here, the way this one's illustrated. So if you have tension headaches, if you're dealing with too many things on your plate, the dam metaphor here is saying don't get to the point where it's ready to break. You have to release the tension and the pressure from time to time. So keep building something beautiful. Don't feel like you have to take on the weight of the world. It's okay to express your feelings. This is the dam as well, that emotional dam that needs to break. Once you get through that, you'll be able to see and feel clearly, and that's going to set the stage for better balance in your life, as we see in the outcome. Between this and the outcome card, we have two more. So environmentally, a lack of resources, a lack of boundaries, and a lack of balance. So the Two of Pentacles in reverse, all of those things. So for some of you, whatever you've been putting your energy into may have satiated you before, but it's not now. So maybe the paycheck isn't worth it anymore. Maybe the status isn't worth it. Maybe the recognition isn't enough. Whatever it is, something's out of balance. And maybe your priorities have simply changed, where you want to spend more time on personal development, on family, on your love life, or just simply having time to breathe and enjoy day-to-day life. So invariably, I look at this as balance, and more specifically, work-life balance. We can take it at card value, which is also don't overspend, don't overextend, really focus on staying within your budget. All of those things are valid. One more time here, we have, there's a common theme this month. So power dynamics here, boss, employee, or parent and child. So we have this sort of wanting to break free of these paradigms of someone having to be in control. The karmic lesson in a lot of relationships this month is you're an equal. And that's basically, the scales of balance are actually completely equal here on this particular illustration. So there's an illusion from the past that there had to be someone in charge, but you guys are equal. So this is specifically for relationships. And again, it can be sibling, parent, or love, doesn't matter. But I see this sort of power change of the guard, more balance than there used to be, but one person's having a hard time letting go. In hopes and fears and opportunities, some of you may be a little bit afraid to step into the role of authority, to say, this is how I want this to happen, to speak out. I think this is Mark Anthony in this particular illustration. But anyway, to be seen, to be heard, and to be a voice of reason. As I talked about earlier, some of you may be trying to break free from someone who simply, it's very black and white. It's their way or the highway. And in your own sort of leadership, make sure that you're not veering into that path either. Keep it a little bit more open, try to inspire, try to assume the best, and try to find a place where people are doing the same of you. Age is just a number. The Emperor is a reminder that at any age we can accomplish that which we seek. Body willing, mind willing. But otherwise, it's a number. We've lived many lives, and this life we're really focusing on making sure that we don't have any regrets. So it doesn't matter what age you are, if there's something that you want to do, this is the moment to plant that seed. And I love your final card here, Justice. This is saying it's your decision at the end of the day. Judgment, the decision's been made. Justice, it's in your hands. It's also about righting a wrong, setting things into balance, setting things into motion, fighting for things if you need to, taking legal action if necessary. And guess what? The scales are upright here and balanced. So I feel like you have a really good chance here of accomplishing whatever it is that you seek out. And in the center of this card, we have Medusa. And so some of you might just feel like you're stuck for a moment. You're afraid. I was talking earlier to a friend about legal language sometimes too can be a lot to take in. So if you do need advice, have someone break it down into very understandable, common day, everyday sort of terms so that you don't feel like a deer in the headlights, or in this case, someone looking at the head of Medusa, which sets you into stone. It's a temporary block here. So you have the ability to get past that. I'm not understanding the words or the images. Try a different communication method. If you're talking to someone, ask for a different way of understanding it if you're receiving it. And I think that's going to be a really great tool in overcoming blocks this month, which is another common theme as we're looking at things. Let's go ahead and expand this even deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we're going to start off first with your health card, which is your mind, body, and spirit. In the area of health, we have the nightingale. So this beautiful bird is known for, of course, singing in the nighttime. It's also something that can be associated with spring and summer. So your communication can actually spark something into being. And it's important in your life to use your voice. And that's the main thing that's coming through with this particular symbol. With the throat chakra, you also want to pay attention to things like thyroid, your voice box, your esophagus, also the back of the spine. There's so many different organs that are kind of packed into this space. So if there's any discomfort anywhere there, obviously work with a professional. But otherwise, we're really talking about speaking up and getting things off your chest, because a big part of what we saw here was emotional release. Okay, let's look at the cards now and see if there's some additional areas around health that we should be focusing on. So some of you may be looking at the commute, how long you're in the car or in the train or in the plane, and you're thinking, I don't know if that's what I want to do anymore. So definitely trying to find smarter ways to commute or telecommute. That's one thing that I'm seeing here, and that'll help your health, because too many hours sitting, especially in commuting, it's not necessarily great for emotional well-being. Let's see what else is going on here. This is also a really good time for you to focus on sight and sound. So new glasses, new hearing exam. If you haven't had either in a while, make sure that you're taking care of that, because the blindfold goes around the eyes and the ears. Also, this is just a reminder here for you not to ignore something. If you feel something and you're like, maybe I should talk to the doctor about it, talk to the doctor about it. Particularly if it's been persistent, you've given it time. This is saying ignoring something won't make it go away. As I said earlier, making sure that there's balance, and for each of us that includes different things, but when we're looking at quality of living, make sure that whatever you prioritize, you're getting enough of that. Now we have a couple cards here associated with balance. So some of you may have things going on in the eustachian tubes or literally kind of affecting your balance. So obviously with that, work with a doctor. But otherwise, it's just work-life balance coming through yet again. And then planning for the future, and possibly even planning to not have to do some of the same things that your parents did with respect to health challenges. So really thinking about, exercise and diet and any sort of genetic things that affected your parents or grandparents, making sure that you are doing things that are helping you thwart that and lead a healthier, happier, longer life. Some of you might be also looking at starting a family, because we have the tug of war between decisions and then also a child, a younger energy sort of at the center here. So I see that as well. But there's a struggle on when, if, how, etc. when it comes to that. And that's pretty much it. Health is fairly manageable. It's mostly about achieving balance this month. When the balance comes through, then everything else starts to kind of align nicely. Okay, let's move on to wealth. Wealth is encompassing resources, life purpose, and career. Triumph is awaiting you here. This is a chance for you to overcome anything that in the past was challenging or didn't work out. So really push through and don't give up. There's a persistent energy in this particular illustration that I love. Let's break this down into 3 categories. For those that are currently working, the first thing that I see here is there are not necessarily great decisions being made with the budget. The 2 of Pentacles show me that there could be a lack of resources, or people are being pulled in too many directions. So it's understaffed. Maybe, there's enough resources, but they're not actually spending to grow the company or the business in the right way. So one thing that you want to do is push back and say no. And that's we see one of the methods here. It can be through unions, it can be through social media, it can just be face-to-face, heart-to-heart. But there's something going on here where it feels like people need to all speak up to make that change happen. You and you alone, it may not be enough. I do think like a group effort would be advantageous here. Some of you don't feel seen or valued, and these 2 go together. This is not being seen and this is being undervalued. So definitely that's something to address if that's going on. If you are a leader, this is a time to really make sure that you're acknowledging good leadership and good producers and good people in your company and saying thank you with like spot bonuses and things of that nature. I also see competing, sort of like maybe this is too top heavy because we have 3 cards of management here. And there's like one person here that's doing most of the work. So it feels like it's top heavy. You might be in an organization, a group where there's a lot of people that are making decisions, but only a couple people that are carrying that out. So that's also where the imbalance is. So it looks like there can be some reorganization going on this month. It would be advantageous. What I like here, though, when I'm looking at you, you've done the work. You've really taking care of yourself. It looks like some of you have also stored up some resources. So the lack that I see is more in the people around you, not in you. And if you are in a place where they don't recognize you, you can get that recognition somewhere else for sure. I think the important thing here, whatever you do next, is to feel like you can speak up and have a voice. Remember, Mockingbird came through. It's not just for your wealth, but it's also for your happiness, your well-being. So if you need to say something, speak up. If you can get other people to back you up, that's even better. And this is a time to really innovate. I think what's happening here for some people, you're also in a place that's stagnated a bit, and they're not thinking beyond tomorrow and beyond like the next big thing. So better leadership, better vision, better recognition. There's a chance for improvement for sure. If you want to do something on your own, I like what I see here with these cards here. The Chariot and the Justice card shows me that you really want to make sure that you put together, if you're going to do this, do it right. Make sure that everything is to the letter. If you're building a business, like get an LLC, do something of that nature. Get the legal sort of framework in place that you need to succeed. But otherwise, I like the innovation. It looks like some new doors and windows are opening of opportunity. So if you feel like you're stagnating here, keep looking elsewhere because it looks like it won't be a long sort of thing. You won't have to wait forever for something new to come along. All right, let's change this up and let's focus on those that are looking for work. So for some of you, letting go of the old job can be hard, or the old experience, and there can be this feeling of being stuck, as we saw with this too. So any way that you can release that pressure a little bit on yourself, that's also going to be important. This can be a card that's encouraging looking beyond where you are to find the next opportunity. So travel and moving for business could be very advantageous. I think that also if you are thinking of going back to school, that's going to also help you out. And by the way, if people don't know about a skill that you have to offer or that you're starting to learn, make sure that you're serving that up to show that you're constantly keeping your skills up to date. Some of you might be considering a career in law. This is for those of you that might be students or re-entering after a while. Maybe that's something that's, really intriguing to you. Ask a lot of questions for whatever new job opportunity might avail itself, because Two of Swords and Justice shows me something in the fine print that you may have a question about. When we're looking at timelines of like when something new may open up, we have a lot of twos here. So it could be in the second week of the month. It could be a couple weeks from the time that you listen to this. I think the most important thing for you to be mindful of is that wherever you go, you have a say, that there is a appreciation for the experience that you bring forth, and that you really feel like this is going to bring you balance in your life, not just with like the budget, but like everything else that you're looking for. Okay, let's reset this now and take a look at those of you that are happily retired, not really looking for work at the moment, just focusing on you. I think the most important thing right now is healing, because we have the clearing card. When I look at the environment, it's also making sure that whatever you're putting your time and energy into, you're getting something back from that. Some of you may be a little bit over investing in extracurricular, volunteer work, etc. There is a chance to advise, to teach, if you're interested in that, to give back a little bit. And I think for many of you, there could be this feeling of now what? And I think this is a really exciting time for you, because you get to explore the possibilities. Because if it's not just about money, assuming that you're retired and you're just looking at something that you can do to occupy time that's going to create this sense of fulfillment, then the sky's the limit, right? You can really allow yourself to do something that you feel a connection to. Now let's move on to love and relationships. So we have the Mirror Guardian coming through on this. I think that's super appropriate, because like energy attracts like energy. The caption on this says it's all about taking time to reflect. Reflect on how far you've come. Reflect on how blessed you are for the people and experiences that you do have in your life. And then also to decide what it is that you want to create and what you need to do to sort of be ready to meet that face to face. Because this is about mirroring, and we saw a lot of power control cards this month, I think that's what we're looking at here is how can you feel really strong and really outspoken and really capable? Because when you feel that energy, you're going to attract people that respect it and have also done the work as well. Let's break this down. 3 different categories. We're going to start off with those in a relationship. Saying I love you, saying thank you, saying I saw that you did it and it really I appreciate it. So let's say someone made dinner, did the dishes, paid the bills, whatever it is that you didn't want to do. Just say thank you so much. That takes a lot off my plate. I can relax a little bit. You're amazing. So acknowledgement and really saying I see you, I noticed that. That is so powerful. In addition to I love you, but like to just the little things that we do for each other sometimes get missed. So that's key. You and or your partner may have way too many things going on. This is probably especially true for those of you that have either a larger family or your new parents or you've been working a lot. There's just a lot that's pulling you almost like you're being pulled apart. So you're going to have to make time to show up for each other. And it's a two-way street, give and take. And we have this sort of different deciding cards here. So I'm seeing the same template here, this mirror energy. So the boss and the person that takes the orders. The boss and the person that takes the orders. So maybe there's a chance to change it up a little bit so the decision maker isn't always having to make the decisions. And it may be a challenge for the decision maker to step back, but remind them, say, if you want me to do this, like fully empower me to do it. And then focus on something else. Let's be there. Let's have each other's backs. So change up the sort of division of responsibilities a bit. And really, if you're the control freak or if the other person is, let go a little bit. That's going to help because then you can really allow the other partner to show up the way that they need to support. All relationships are work, but they shouldn't feel like they're a burden. So if things are getting to the point where it feels like it's a burden, it's time to talk that through a little bit. Might be a great time to take a vacation or a trip together, planning together, and also letting the partner know about a future plan. It even puts their mind at ease. It's like, oh, I'm in the picture for the future. This is more for newer relationships, but even long term, say, hey, do you want to look into this next year? I've been thinking about taking this trip. You're letting them know that they're in the picture. So I see you. I appreciate you. We're going to help each other take the burden off one another. We're going to plan things together for the future. These are like healthy relationship signs to me. And also, it feels like there's just 2 strong and powerful people here, and it may be difficult sometimes in giving up control. But if you can find those places, it's going to be advantageous. Overall, I feel like you can deal with whatever's coming through. It's just about speaking openly, dealing with the emotions, moving beyond the burden of sometimes the day-to-day relationship doldrums and focusing on what matters. One of you may be going back to school. Definitely looks like money matters are important. So find a way to bring that up and make sure that you're, again, planning for the future when it comes to that. It looks very manageable to me. Some of you may be on the final throes of a divorce or separation because we got the Justice card, but I don't see a lot of acrimony. It feels like this can be something where it's peaceful. One last thing comes through here for existing relationships, and it's using the mirror as a tool. And you could be holding up the mirror to help them see something that's creating frustration for you. So you could say, when you say this, when you do this, it really triggers me. Is there a different way that we could go about this so that we can discuss it? Because we have the same goal, but that's not an effective way to communicate it. It sounds a little bit like therapy, but it does help sometimes. You can also kind of try to look through the mirror to make sure that your own projections aren't getting in the way and say, I think you said this. Is that correct? And this can help you from overreacting sometimes or jumping to a conclusion. Say, or even better yet, help me understand how you arrived at this decision. This is especially true if you don't agree with what they did. Say, I know we talked about this. I know you did this. Walk me through it. What's the thought process here? That gives them a chance to make a case. Maybe there were some components you never had in mind. Some things that popped up that You're like, oh yeah, that's probably what I would have done too. Great decision. Okay, I'm glad I asked. Ask first. Use the mirror too to let them know how you're feeling and try to project it back so that they can also show up the way you need them to show up. All right. Now let's take a look at those of you that are looking for love. Can you find it? Absolutely. We saw manifestation coming through here. It looks like it could be someone from the past. There's a lot of similarities between you and this person. I keep getting a template energy. Big thinkers, and also a lot of boss energy coming through. I think the most difficult thing here could be figuring out who is making decisions here, giving way and finding a happy medium. This is also true of those in existing relationships. But if you can deal with that strong personality, that could be good. There's also a Libra coming through in the future, but there's a fire sign from the past that seems to want to be dealt with first, or that perhaps you have to kind of deal with releasing. And then I see a Libra. The Libra comes through as a lot more balanced, but the fire sign, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of, butting of heads. And I feel like sometimes what's in the past is better in the past, but there may be an ex or someone that you need to kind of like get over first before you can move on to this. There's an age difference that's coming through with this particular Libra. And it could be someone that belies their age. So Emperor in reverse can actually be younger person, old soul. So also maybe they're younger, but they have like gray hair or something like that. So the age and the perspective or the way you're perceiving it, it doesn't add up, but that's not necessarily bad. It could just also be an old soul and a young body. And you could be meeting someone the exact same age, but they have all this wisdom, and that's kind of cool. One last note here is the surprise element here. Two of Swords is something that you may not see coming. So I feel like a lot of you may be sort of like in the throes of work or education or a project or something that matters. And that's when love comes knocking. So I don't feel like you have to try that hard this month. The only thing that's kind of out of balance could be how much you're working or how much you're focusing on money or practical matters. Kind of like make sure to look up and look around, because that's when you see this new synchronicity coming in. Okay. Let's now focus on those that are happily single. If you are not looking for love at the moment, it's really a chance to soul search a bit. We talked about introspection at the beginning. We can see here that some of you may have done everything that you set out to do, and now it's a chance to just try some new stuff. So I think that could be really fun if you give yourself permission to just try without judging, because you don't have to be perfect at a brand new endeavor. Give yourself a chance to just learn and to try something different. Going back to school, training, getting involved with any activity where you're going to get a new skill, meet some people that are also working on themselves. All of that looks great. Finally, we have a balance card twice here coming through in the spread. So creating balance in your life is important. We also have justice, which can represent social justice, fighting for what matters, making a change in the world. So if you have extra time and you're not focusing on relationships, you might be looking at something of that nature as well. That's going to be a good use of your time and energy. Let's change the focus and take a look at your destiny card. We have the water rat coming through on this one, and it says focus on your vision. Don't get lost in the details. Really focus on the big picture. And because we have the element of water involved in this one, it's also about going with the flow. This card is reversed. Some of you may feel like you've been having to push against desire, push against expectations, and also push against where your energy wants to take you next. So the water rat comes through to help align you to purpose, to passion, and to allow you to basically make this work. Rats are pretty smart too. And so this is about really thinking your way through any potential challenge or block. You've got this. We're going to now take this a little deeper and, as promised, take a look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages. And let's see what's coming through, Pisces. Sun, rising, and moon. All right, let's begin with sun sign messages first. You received the Two of Wands in reverse, and it's basically an invitation to dream. Make sure that you're taking and making time for planning, for dreaming, for exploring. It's also an encouragement not to second guess what's given to you in your dreams, in your intuitive, soul searching, and to basically go for it and reach for it. You're able to breathe life into something. This Two of Wands is really close to the Magician card, as above, so below, bringing something from the ethers into the physical. So what are you doing this month to do that? To plan, to execute a plan, and to continue to feed that sort of dream, which we talked about at the very beginning. Since the lizard and the gecko have, they reproduce with eggs, you have to fertilize the eggs, you have to protect the eggs. So when you have a seed of intention, it's the same sort of thing here. So take your vision and feed it and protect it and nurture it each and every day. But the first piece is slow down long enough to dream, create enough space to allow that dream to develop, and then follow through. That's the sun sign message. This is empowered by the high priestess or the magician. So make additional time each day for meditation. That's a great way to feed the dream as well. Let's now go into rising and ascendant. We have the Ace of Swords in reverse. This is a chance to speak up, to act on those dreams and those ideas. It's a chance to revise as necessary, whatever written sort of documents are in front of you, or whatever you said you were going to do, but now you've got new information. You're like, I think we need to revisit this. So revisit, revise, re-envision. It's really a chance to go at it from a different angle and take an active role, speaking up and, circling things if you don't agree or don't understand it. You have a say, you have a voice. It's just about exercising and using that throat chakra, as we saw with the nightingale symbol that came through. Okay. For those of you that are creative, especially if you are a writer or anybody that uses, your hands to create things, this is a time to put that into action, because this is a very action-oriented card. So recording or building or writing things, this is a perfect time to do that. Moving on to moon sign messages, healing. And we have the Ten of Swords in reverse, which is the opposite of pain. It is recovery. And this is very nicely aligned with the mirror card. We actually have a mirror image in this one. So it's showing that in this moment in time, you may actually be asked to lead by example. Your ability to heal and move on is also going to allow the other person to heal and move on. If you can release someone, they have a better chance of releasing you. It's focusing on inner healing. It's for yourself, it's for others, and ultimately, this is the dawn of a new day. Typically in this card, we would see the sun rising, and the reversal of this is focusing less on the swords or the carnage in the card and more on that beautiful, brilliant sunrise. Okay? We kind of get a little bit of it here, but it's more visible in the traditional Ten of Swords. So focusing on that, saying, I'm sorry. Focusing on healing the body if anything doesn't feel right. And again, knowing that the Ten of Swords typically represents a full stop. So if you've been through a really challenging chapter, it typically has nowhere to go but upward, moving forward. And one of the themes this month, Pisces, was regaining control and finding better balance in your life. So I feel like you're on the precipice of doing both. Let's move now to the very last card that we're going to look at. This is the final question and the final card. So if there's one more question that I have yet to have answered in the main spread, this is your chance to ask it. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Page of Wands, one of my favorite Page of Wands. As a yes or no, it's a yes. As a specific message from Spirit, it's saying now is the time to basically create some sort of a spark of intuition, of inspiration. It's also saying that you may have to clear your head a little bit. We see this page kind of playing with the clouds a bit, creating lightning, capturing that lightning. So if there's anything going on where your thoughts are getting in the way, it's like clear that out and focus on where you feel the spark. And it's also about making some noise. This lightning would then result in thunder. So you may need to speak up. You may need to really, if you're trying to get people's attention, if there's a marketing launch, if there's a special announcement, go all in. Really make sure that you are showing up bold and confident and the visionary that you are. Okay? This is the third Wands card in the court cards that we got. So we got the Knight, we got the King, and we've got the Page. This is all in how you communicate it. Put your heart out there. Put the passion into it. And if you do that, the sky is the limit. And that, my friends, brings this reading to a close. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here. If you enjoyed this, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and select all notifications, and that way you'll never miss out on a future video. You can also follow me across social media. It's always my full name, no extra characters, no spaces, no alternate spellings, Nicholas Ashbaugh. When in doubt, you can also go to my website and make sure that you get the right link there. If you choose to give back, you can do it through an official format here with super stickers or super thanks. And also you can become a member. All of these help out in a great way. For posted videos, I think there's a little thanks button and it looks like it's a heart, so feel free to use that if you'd like to. Just a quick reminder that I do not offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. If anybody tries to be me on a social media network and asks for anything in a message, block and report them, let me know about it, and I appreciate that. I always put that out there for safety so you know who's who. New videos are posted every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I do daily card reads as well, and every Sunday there's a live stream. Why don't you stop by? It's 9 a.m. Pacific. I'd love to see you. And again, liking and subscribing in particular, is the best way to make sure you don't miss out. Thank you for spending time with me. You're the best part of what I do here on YouTube, and I couldn't be here without your help, your support, and your enthusiasm. Wishing you all the best now and always. Have a great holiday season, everybody. Bye-bye.